Day four. Everything's changing in such an amazing way. I feel so clear and so happy. I access something in me. I was excited about seeing someone yesterday. I said hi to someone who's very close to me and someone who means a lot to me from my past. And there's a part of me that's just this big kid that gets excited and loves to say amazing things about people and loves to say how good it feels to hang with them. And she said something that just kind of, it was a different energy, it was a different tone. And I noticed that this kid in me felt shut down, if not attacked a little bit. And I had to meditate on it. And I went to this deep, deep, deep place where I realized nothing can hurt me. Yes, I understand there's situations out of our control. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about psychological pain for an adult. I'm talking about adults. In other words, there's a kid in us that wants love. There's a kid in us that wants to connect and feel good so much that it'll sacrifice what your soul wants all the time just to get everyone to love. I mean, everybody's running around not eating necessarily what their body wants, but what they want to make a connection with someone, and they're people pleasing because they just want people to like them. And it's crazy. I mean, we're just this giant collection of kids that never grew up into adults, like soulfully. Never grew into even more of the love that they actually are. And when I felt triggered, of course I wanted to defend myself and explain myself, and I did a little bit. And then I realized I'm explaining myself because I'm under the impression I'm hurt. And luckily, all this meditation has taken me to a deep enough place to learn that. So I meditated and I found this just place of unconditional love in me. And that pain went away. It didn't want to be fixed. It didn't want to be explained. It didn't want to be defended. It's a little kid that can get hurt. The little kid in us that when we grow up, that's still running the show. This kid that wanted our parents to love us a certain way. And of course, our parents they're still in their kids, most of them. So they don't know how to give you the love that you want. So you're sitting here learning, if I act this way with this parent, or if I do this, I get love. If I do this, I get mad. And then you start to, for 20 years, develop this mechanism that thinks when I do this, I get love, and this feels like a connection, and this feels like a disconnection because my dad used to do that. Some people associate when your dad screams at you that, that's love, because still when you go to your childhood, the highest form of love you have is your parents. Even if you rejected them, it's still the highest form of connection we all know. Even if we never even saw them, we're just like, it's fascinating. So we sometimes reject our parents or we accept them, we connect. And this kid keeps running the show. And that only happens because we don't understand that under this, we're just love. And we go into so many things trying to not lose it because we think it's our form of love. Like we go into a relationship most of the time with the purpose of keeping it. How do we keep this lasting? How do I stop this from falling apart? And you're walking around your life trying to stop something from falling apart. Let lots of things fall apart that aren't life and death. Let things fall apart that are, because our ego's scared that if someone laughs at me, that's death. Our ego's scared that if people won't agree with my opinion, that's death. So we sacrifice our opinion, and we need to let some of those things fall apart. What we don't understand is something falling apart is where you're going to find yourself in a deeper place. Now, I'm not talking about life or death. I'm not even talking about consciously trying to sabotage something. I'm talking about if something's trying to fall apart, there might be something under it that's trying to come through, but it can't because you're so busy holding on to this thing that you think is life or death. And I just felt like letting myself feel the pain that I was feeling and stay there. And I go, okay, I'm supposed to go deeper. Now, it's not something my mind can do. My mind can't go deeper. I can choose to stay in the room, though, and the mind will start running such a story, and eventually I have to be deeper. Like, the mind will, I'll see this mind going chaotically if I sit and close my eyes for a while. So my mind is going, what do we do? What do we do? And I'm just sitting here looking at it, loving it. And all of a sudden, the kid that needed love, that couldn't get it, I'm loving it. The kid that wanted mom and dad's love, okay, well, they couldn't give it the way that you can give it to yourself now. So you can sit here and stress and fight and scream. And there's another you that can be there for it and observe it. And when you meditate and connect to yourself long enough, that's all that starts to show up. And when something triggers you and you feel like mad and you want to defend yourself or fight back, that's actually a calling for you to go deeper. Get excited because that person might have unlodged something in you that you thought was still who you were. So when something comes up, sit there with it and be there with it and wait and be a space with it. And actually give yourself a good half an hour to an hour. And people go, I don't have time for that. Yeah, but once you transcend something, you see it forever. Like, you might take an hour, but all of a sudden, there's a you that isn't triggered by that anymore, that has an awareness that's deeper now. So I went through that. And it took me to this more grown-up place where I loved the little kid even more until the kid felt accepted. That didn't feel accepted by her, it felt accepted by me. And maybe she said that because she doesn't feel accepted. And maybe she was lashing out and she needs me to be that space for her, or she needs her to be that space for her, but if she isn't aware of that, maybe I can be that space. So when someone's saying something and they're mad at you, they're really also maybe saying, can you be a space for me to let this kid leave? Let this angry, scared kid that wasn't loved by my parents the right way, I've created this fear and this defense mechanism, can you just love me? Yeah, I can now. From all this work, I can be a space of love for a lot larger demographic. You know, you can see even some of the worst people, you can see just the pain they're in from not being seen. You know, people just want to be seen and loved on the real level. And sometimes they're not good at getting it. They'll lash out and they'll attack people and they'll say mean things because they just want to be seen. And if we could be in this place, we could see them. And that might give them enough of their own self-acceptance, because it's hard to see some angry people. It's hard to see them. They really are good at being sometimes narcissistic or hateful or angry. But there's a love under that has never been seen by them. Because we live in this world where everyone's scared to feel on a real level that can actually heal everything. It can heal on a much larger scale. There's a lot of love here that's trying to come out and be and see everything and let everything keep lashing out on each other until it finally is tired of it and looks within. So I found that in me today. Wouldn't have found it, would have spent a lot of time defending myself and angry or frustrated or defensive had I not been doing this meditation. Might have burned a lot of energy, might have ran from a situation that could be magical. But I'm just here to love me and be a love that can help other people see that they are too, because it's in every one of us. It's in you. No matter what pain you think you're in, that's just because through meditation, through acceptance, you'll see you can go much deeper and you might find a whole other reality. And it's when we think that our edge of who we are as that child, or that pain, or that anger, or that revenge, or that defense, that we're stuck in this prison. But there's a love under it that wants you to free yourself, that you can connect to. And when you connect to that, you'll eat differently, you'll move differently, you won't live on Facebook all day. It's amazing. Day 4.